I definitely need to do a John Hughes, just rundown, because this guy just knew how to, he just knew how to make them, honestly. The only two that I've seen by him are The Breakfast Club, which will also, now that I think about it, I should definitely talk about that one, because that was a great movie as well. And I definitely have watched it a couple times, and I've enjoyed every time and learned something new every time that I watched it. So watch out. I'm going to make a Breakfast Club video. I should probably give it another rewatch. But today, we're going to talk about what is my favorite movie by him, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Oh my goodness. There's something just so chill about this movie, but it is also very thought-provoking. And it's so simple. There's no big effects. There's no big set pieces, and actually no, the car situation, yeah, that's probably like the biggest set piece out of the whole film. But I do love films that are able to make you think and make you ponder and reflect while not doing too much, and also while showing appreciation to the world that it takes place in. And a lot of people will say that this is a love letter to Chicago. And I've never been to Chicago, but watching this film and also watching The Bear, I'm not gonna lie, watching those two pieces of media makes me really want to visit out there. I really want to experience Chicago. I felt the love for Chicago just through watching this film from the 80s, which is amazing. I want to say 85. This came out 85. I wasn't even 86. I wasn't even a concept. Far from a concept, bro. So the fact that I could talk about this film in 2025 and the effect that it has on me, that's the whole point. That's really why I love this medium, why I love doing this. I think that is so dope that that's the case. But Ferris Bueller's Day Off, starring Matthew Broderick, directed by John Hughes. Great film, great watch. It's funny. It has its intimate moments. Love. It's a cat and mouse story with the principal and Ferris. It's a story about just life and appreciation and just going out there and experiencing the world. It's a story about perspective. I think about Jeannie's story, who is Ferris Bueller's sister, and how she kind of centers her whole life, pretty much, or at least within this film, she centers her whole life around the fact that she doesn't have the benefits of life that she perceives that Ferris does. And it's like by the end of it, she learns to just worry about herself, which is something that I feel like we all kind of have to remind ourselves to do, because it's easy to compare, and like everybody says, and it was something that I've been hearing a lot for the past couple of years, comparison is the biggest thief of joy. This movie definitely begs you to think about all of that. And the main lesson that I get from this is just life moves pretty fast. If you don't take a second, you could miss it. Poignancy right there. There's so many different levels to it. Of course, you have Ferris, who is a very almost like a mythological character. This guy who kind of just is able to finesse life in a way that is very surreal. How he's able to get in and out of situations and create a life for himself that he feels is redeemable and worth living. On the contrasting side, you have Alan Ruck, who I love. He's also in Succession, Brother Connor. I'm forgetting his name in this movie. Cameron. Honestly, I think you could say that this is Cameron's story. I think he's the one that definitely changes out of the big three in this. You have Ferris, you have Cameron, and then you have Ferris's girlfriend, who Solange. So I think that's her name. And Cameron is the one that has that dynamic shift from the beginning to the end of the film. Ferris is pretty static. He changes in certain ways, definitely a lot more minor compared to the major shift that Cameron goes through. I think this is one of my favorite character arcs in all of film, all of cinema, because you have a character that goes from super pessimistic, to the point where he's sick, but he's making himself sicker, just very down and drab, and unwilling to do things, and also very resistant to change, very resistant to confrontation. He's definitely a character that in certain ways I can relate to. And then by the end of it, he's able to really face the music, and he's able to see what in his life doesn't work. And in some ways he's kind of forced to confront those things, which I don't think he wants to do initially, but he makes the decision to. Of course, minor spoilers, but I always say, I watch the film before you hear me discuss it, because I might just, retroactively just kind of give out spoilers. But even the whole car situation, how he's hesitant to even touch the car at the start, and just his dad's relationship with the car, and his dad, who we never even see in the film, but he has such a big presence because Cameron creates that presence and reminds us constantly of his presence. I think that's something that is really well done with this film. And by the end of it, when the car gets totaled, it's just kind of this aha moment for Cameron, and I'm glad that he was able to finally be less afraid to have those bitter conversations that he's been delaying and prolonging for his entire life. And I think at that basis of the film, his story is definitely a reflection of the quote that Ferris starts and ends the movie with. And I think Ferris is just that reminder for every character in this film to just and also for the audience, life is short and life is fleeting, and at any moment it could be changed or it could be over. So why put yourself in situations where you don't like, or that you don't see the brighter side of, because life is also beautiful, and it's also a lot of purpose, and it's teachable, and it's just so many things that he beckons the audience to understand, and just all the different changes that we never get to see in his future, and in Cameron's future, and in Solange's future. But he makes it apparent that life is just about just going out there and just facing those things, and whatever comes with it comes with it. But you have to be willing to not be scared and not be afraid. And I think that's what's so beautiful about this film. And also the fact that I think this script was written in a week or two, maybe a week, I think, which is crazy, which is nuts. But like I said, it's a very simple film, so it makes sense, thought-provoking, and it's a light film. It is, you could watch it with your family, you could watch it with your significant other, you could watch it by yourself, and I can almost 100% guarantee that there is something in this film that you can love, whether it's one line, a story arc, a character arc, or the entire thing, like me, which, I love this entire film. I'll watch it over and over and over. I already have, and I will continue to do it. Yeah, I love this movie. This film is really, really, really good, really poignant, and really simple, in the best way possible. If you haven't seen it yet, I hope I didn't spoil too much for you. I hope I made you more intrigued to go check it out, because what I explain in 10 minutes is nothing compared to the experience of just sitting down and watching this damn film. It's great. It's a great watch. I highly, highly recommend you watch it, and then once you watch it, you share it to everybody that you know and love. Continue to live through the messages of the film. I could talk about this for a long, long time, because it has stuck with me since the first time I watched it, which was probably high school, which is 10 years ago at this point, which is crazy to say out loud.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, go watch this film. Please go watch it. Drop your comments. Let me know what you like, love, hate, disdain, wish was different. Let me know what you thought about differently after watching this video, after rewatching the movie, if you did that after watching it for the first time. If you don't like this movie, tell me why. Tell me what could have been better about it for you. Tell me, what lost you, what you wish was different. I would love to hear. I'd love to have that discourse. Let's talk about these films. That's the whole purpose of this channel. The main basis is to recommend good films and to not recommend bad films, unless those bad films are good, because that irony does absolutely exist in this medium. but at the forefront of it is just to create discussion about things that we love, things that I love, and hopefully things that you love and also don't love. Let's keep it respectful. Thank you for tuning in to Good Watch. This is a great watch. Like I said, this is infinite out of 10. This is a great film. Go watch this film. Let me know what you think. And until the next one, peace out. Like and subscribe. Love you all. Thanks.